taken your bank card out and given it to someone like your husband, your wife, or your kids to go shopping? Raise your hand. How many of you have done that? I know you've all have done that. Everybody in here should raise your hand. So that's a violation of your banking agreement. My name is Mihai Dragici, and I'm founder of Paybyface. With Paybyface, you can now safely and securely share your digital wallet with anyone that you want to go shop on your behalf. You can specify a certain participating merchant at a certain day, at a certain hour, and up to a certain amount of money that they can spend using your money and their biometric face recognition in the app. There's other use cases for Paybyface. Right now we're working on an application for the visually impaired in Europe. There's 80 million visually impaired people in Europe, and they have a very difficult time using these traditional cards to key in, to make a payment, much less to figure out if it's a MasterCard or Visa if you can't see. So with Paybyface, they can simply take a selfie and complete the purchase. It's much easier for them to do that. We have a registered trademark in Europe for Paybyface. It's the biometric payments. It was issued right now in January of this year. And we have internet property for Paybyface.io and BankConnect.io. Our business strategy is to build out the Paybyface application and connect it into BankConnect, which is also our integration into the European Open Banking PSD2 initiative to expose APIs to all the European banks that are being built right now and being launched in Sandbox. So we want to put one interface on top of all the banks and have Paybyface face recognition as the authorization authentication module to start transferring money and no longer need Visa, MasterCard to move our money for us. We're asking for €500,000 to build out the development of our biometric payment platform. This will go into the iOS, Android, and the BankConnect API dev portal, which other fintechs can integrate into and have one interface to communicate to all the European banks much easier than having to talk to every bank individually. It's going to be basically like the App Store for BankConnect, where any fintech can now integrate, and our Paybyface will be the kitchen sink app for them to use. You can search for Paybyface in YouTube to see a demo of our application. Thank you.
Thank you. Paybyface, everyone. So over to the judges now for Q&A.
So there was a slide on the revenue model that you skipped. Could you please tell us a little bit more things?
Yes, so the Paybyface B2C consumer app will be free to use for consumers to make purchases at participating merchants. BankConnect will be a $99 per year entry fee, just like the App Store. And as a developer of fintech, you can pay $99, enroll in BankConnect, and have access to all the APIs that we integrate with the banks in Europe. There's also a $299 merchant onboarding fee for them to join the Paybyface payment platform.
Can you elaborate a bit more about the social impact of your product?
Yeah, so we're targeting right now the visually impaired people in Europe. There's 80 million visually impaired people that have difficult time. We were at the Accenture Hackathon in Bucharest 2 weeks ago, and I had a visually impaired person use the application, and they mentioned that it's very hard for them to key in card information when they make purchases online and mobile. They have a very difficult time. So we said, well, why don't we use Paybyface? You can easily take a selfie, and that completes your process. So they only enter this in once, and then they use the face recognition for every additional purchase after that.
WeChat and Alipay are planning to integrate this into their platforms. How do you protect or set yourself apart?
So I wish I could compete with Alipay and WeChat. I'm much smaller than them, but I have the trademark filed and registered in Europe right now for Paybyface. Make purchases with your selfie. So I'm at the trademark European IPO level, and I understand that you can't really patent in Europe, but I'd like to just do market share, integrate with banks, and just do a market land grab right now because it's all about integrating into banking APIs to have source of funds. Once you have source of funds, then most of us don't change our bank account. Once you have a bank account, it's going to be the same thing.
Time up. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Paybyface, everybody. Thank you very much.